I'll begin with a question, a rhetorical question. Who is really running Iran right now? Amid a fragile ceasefire and uncertainty over talks, this question remains at the heart of the conflict, and the answers depend on who you ask. US President Donald Trump insists Iran's leadership is fractured, divided, and even chaotic. He blames this chaos for the uncertainty in the talks.
They want to make a deal. We have been speaking to them, but they don't even know who's leading the country. They're in turmoil. They're in turmoil. So we thought we'd give them a little chance to get some of their turmoil resolved.
But new reporting suggests something very different. An ABC News report based on inputs from multiple intelligence and security sources claims that Iran is not showing signs of an implosion. The overall view is that Iranian leadership is fast evolving to the new reality. According to these assessments, power in Tehran is no longer centralized the way it was under the supreme leader. Mojtaba Khamenei, the new leader and son of the late Ayatollah, still remains the central figure. A New York Times report has claimed that he is gravely wounded but remains mentally sharp. He's surrounded by a tight circle of powerful military figures, many from the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. According to the report, the key figures of the new leadership have one common link. The IRGC, Mojtaba, once fought with the Guards in the Iran-Iraq War. The chief of IRGC, Brigadier General Ahmad Bahidi, remains his key advisor. Other important figures like Mohammad Bagher Zolgadar, Yahya Rahim Safazi, and Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf have previously held key positions in the Guards or in the IRGC. While the decision-making has been decentralized, intelligence insiders cited in the report say there is no clear evidence of deep fractures at the top. They also point to a bigger concern. Iran's leadership may be potentially harder to negotiate with. This goes against President Trump's claim of a regime change and a more favorable leadership in Iran. Instead, sources cited by both ABC and the New York Post say that Iranian leadership has turned more adamant and less flexible. They say power is now in the hands of an entrenched, hardline military who view the war as an existential crisis. Hafid Boutaleb is a geopolitics and international relations analyst at the AOB Group. He's now joining us live from Casablanca, Morocco. Mr. Boutaleb, it's good to see you. Thank you very much for your time. In your own view, in your own assessment, considering what has been happening in Iran, who do you think is running the country? Forget about Mojtaba Khamenei for a moment. Talk about the IRGC.
Well, my answer would be, I think, to be honest, sorry for that, Eric, and thank you for the invitation. But I think that who's in charge is, you asked me to forget about him, but he's definitely in charge, the supreme guy. Of course, he's weakened, but as you just quoted this New York Times report, he is still sharp. And as you know, there is this expression that everything you say will be held against you. And now, because of the context of war, everything you show will be held against you. He knows he's the supreme target for the United States, so he has to hide. And of course, so in that consequence, and now I go back to your question, how can he rule by hiding constantly? There are guidelines, of course. These guidelines, and by the way, this guy is ruling since few years now. Since a couple of years, and the United States should have targeted him first rather than his father. His father was too old to rule, and now he's now obviously he was already in charge even before the death of the assassination of his father Ali Khamenei. So to go back to your question, there are guidelines now for the Iranian regime. The main guideline is for all the persons composing the hierarchy in Iran is that the regime has to be perpetuated. The regime has to continue. This is the first, foremost, most important guideline since 1979. This is the Wilayat al-Faqih, the ideological foundation of the Islamic Republic of Iran. It's the rule of law according to their interpretation of Islam, and it is even beyond an interpretation. It is a religion. It's the Shia religion, a religious trend within Islam, but it is almost a religion, a separate religion like Protestants and Catholics. According to this lecture of or reading grid elaborated by the Shia clerics and formulated clearly by Khomeini, the first supreme guide of Iran, the rule of law has to be held by the clerics. This is the most important thing. This is for them the thing that has to continuously stay. So whether IRGC, whether Ghalibaf, whether whoever, they know that anything going in or intending a reform, deleting the Wilayat al-Faqih ideological foundation is the red line. So this is the main red line. Then you have, of course, the nuclear capabilities, and then you have the mastering the narrative, that to show that the country is holding, that the Shia clerics holding the country and the Pastor Iran are smart, are wise, are calm-tempered, etc., and that they hold the tempo. But the reality is another reality. So within this framework, there are many figures. You just mentioned Ghalibaf, you mentioned Zolghadri. There is also Amir Khatami, the commander-in-chief of the regular army in Iran, that we are not speaking a lot about because of the IRGC. Taking all the light. And of course there is the president. As we say, last but not least, but in his particular case, I would say last and least, Masoud Pezeshkian. So these are the names in charge in Iran. And
sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt you. Let's just break into some breaking news that we are receiving in our newsroom right now. I will ask you to stay with us.